little bit sassy, a little bit crazy, a little bit classy. We got dreams and we got goals. We're just a couple of old sassholes.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi again. Welcome to A Couple of Sassholes podcast. I'm Brooklyn Maple.
I'm Heather Terry.
And as you all know, or maybe you don't, and this is your first time, and if it's your first time, I hope we'll be gentle. But anyway. This is our power hour of true crime with fucked up people doing fucked up shit for fucked up reasons, very little reasons, or sometimes some pretty, heavy ones.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have really bad upbringings.
Should be getting heavy.
So if you're a parent and you're shitty to your kids,
be nice.
Be nicer because they could become a serial killer.
Yeah, for sure.
If that's the bare minimum of why you should be a good parent. So I don't want to have a killer kid.
Speaking of killer kid, have you seen Gypsy Rose? She's thriving. Gypsy Rose.
I know who Gypsy. Yeah.
Okay.
Gypsy. Do you want to say Gypsy Rose one more time?
Gypsy Rose.
Golly.
She's thriving.
Didn't she just get off of Facebook? She was like, fuck this. I'm not doing this anymore.
Is she off there?
She was a few weeks ago.
Oh.
I saw, it was like Instagram, e-news, scroll through while I was peeing. And it was like, Gypsy Rose gets off the internet because it's stupid. I don't know.
She probably did get a lot and it probably overwhelmed her because she wasn't allowed to hardly be on it unless her mom watched her.
I don't even know if it's just that or if it's like there's crazy haters. And
I bet there's a bunch.
Yeah. She did murder her mom and then fuck her boyfriend and then post about it and make jokes. So at the end of the day.
Yeah. She's not a saint, but no, she did some time. And
Gypsy, sweet girl. I totally get why you killed your mom.
Yeah.
And I probably would have too. Knock on wood. Let's hope the cops don't come after me for that one. But I just wouldn't have then been so weird about it.
Yeah. You could have handled it a different.
Could have kicked her fat ass down a flight of stairs. Could have poisoned her. There's a lot. Could have cut her brakes. There's just things that could have happened. But the way she did it, I killed that fat cow or whatever she said.
Yeah,
crazy.
That was a little wild. I didn't mean to go down that hole, but
I know. What were you talking about? Just kids with bad upbringing.
Yeah.
I was like, let me tell you about how she killed her mom wrong. Yeah. I have very passionate feelings about murder and murder style things.
You know what else I have passionate feelings about?
Me.
Yeah. Besides that.
Oh, yeah. What?
About how there's people be putting some weird cameras in some weird places. There's been stories that have been popping up about.
Just the camera shaw.
The cameras. Yeah. They're like, there's always like weird stories popping up about them being in Airbnbs.
Voyeurisms and
like putting them in the smoke alarms. Or things like that. But like, what did you say before we turned the mics on? One about like the toilets. Cam?
There's toilet cams.
We don't ever kink shame, and we say that all the time. But I don't want to
that's number one. That's not a kink if you're actually recording people without their knowledge.
Truth.
So let's first say, right? Let's make sure that we disclaim the fact that it's not okay to hide cameras in anything.
No.
But if, let's say Travis was like, put cameras wherever you'd like to see some things. Number one would not be him shitting.
Oh, God.
I can tell you that. And he's not going to want to watch me with my poop shoot.
Loser. Not kidding.
Heather's like, I would. Right? But that's just such a weird one.
Yeah.
Because that's like a thing that guys have definitely done for women. Like I know that like I have witnessed the articles of men who put them in put the camera. I understand the shower. Like scrub a dub.
Yeah.
Right? But I do not understand toilets.
Yeah. If someone like watching me take a shower would just be me either listening to a true crime podcast or just singing the whole time. It would not be a cute show.
Well, I don't know how many people are doing it sexy like. I do wonder though, like the nanny cams and stuff. I feel like that's an abuse of like some privilege in some cases because it's like
if you don't know,
you need to know. And the reason for that is like if you think you're alone in a home and you fart, right? Or you have conversations, where you're like talking shit about how the fucking mom is so annoying with Aiden and that she decorates her mantle in a shitty way. Like I would just want to be able to, if I knew I was being monitored, I would.
I
would like to know.
You act different.
Yeah.
Just like if we have a dog sitter and Sherry comes over when we're gone, I would tell Sherry if I had a camera in there. Because like you said, when she just rips it or she looks at Trixie and is like, why is your mom such a bitch? Or so,
Right.
tells my dog that. She would never, but
Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I'm with you.
That's wild to even think about. I would want to know if I was being watched for sure.
Airbnb shit. I totally forgot about that because you just scared me.
Yeah, well, I'm
going to start getting undressed sexier. I'm going to start getting undressed in locations that are not my home when I have to in a sexier way. You walk in one time on accident and I'm just over here with like really nice lingerie and you're like, are we about to fuck? Because I have no idea what's going on. I'm pretty sure you wear Amazon underwear all the time and you're over here in like a whole get up. Are you having an affair?
What was that movie we watched, the Winnie the Pooh, where they go on that girls trip and she's just
Blood and Honey?
Yeah, and she's just in lingerie.
She was in lingerie, just number one, she had gorgeous tits.
Yeah.
Like I was like, way to go.
Yeah.
But there's a whole scene for no reason. Of her just bouncing around singing, and it's like not her character because it wasn't Britney Spears in Crossroads. Like that's what Britney Spears in Crossroads did.
Yeah.
But like this is just like a hardcore kind of like smart ass one.
Yeah.
With like dyed hair, I feel like, and she just like tits out.
Yeah. I'm like, what?
I've never done that.
No.
And I love my boobs. And I put them in pretty bras sometimes, so I'm never just frolicking around like that.
You're like on a girls trip. What are you doing? I'll be right back. I'm going to go sing a couple. I got to go sing in my lingerie. I'll be back.
Right?
Yeah. It was bizarre. Anyway, don't start bringing ring lights on our girls trips. And I'll be like, what are you doing? You're like, just give the people what they want.
Just if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to be virally famous, I'm going to do it right. No, but now I need to know how we can tell that there's no cameras in Airbnbs.
Look for pinholes on the smoke alarms from what I've read.
Okay.
Like on the outside.
I can do that.
We'll forget we lay down here. We're going to look up and be like,
we're in Louisiana. Like, is that light normal?
What's that red light from up there?
What is that? Fuck.
You know what else is not normal?
Bra. What?
My story.
Ooh.
My story is not normal.
I always like whenever it's Heather's time and I'm in the captain's chair today and I get to whenever I record, I'm like sitting up straight and I'm super focused. And then the second that Heather starts, I'm like feet on the table.
Oh yeah, she puts her feet up. She'll probably take her sweatshirt off and put it back on 4 times. She yawned during her own story. So.
I couldn't help it. Mama got sleepy.
So, yeah.
And it was a good story.
She'll move the mic 9 times. Oh, 10.
Always. Talk to me. Tell me a story, Heather.
So you're last because we recorded 2 today because we're overachievers. And
because we're better than every other podcaster.
That's right.
Because we care about our fans and we are going to keep the content coming.
That's right. And you told me you were doing a story that involved animals to some degree. So I decided to randomly, I had a block of what I was going to do because I waited till the last minute because that's what I do.
It's because we are pre-recording.
Yeah, but I'm a procrastinator. So I waited till the last minute and I found a story that involves snakes. So
I don't care for that.
I figured you wouldn't.
I do not fucking care for that.
You're not going to care for any of this.
I don't fucking care for that.
I the whole time, as soon as I found it, I'm like, ooh, she's going to hate this.
I don't care for that.
Just don't do a spider one to get me back because I'll die.
How is there a snake one?
I mean,
I just did a story where the guy was accused of being eaten by a crocodile.
Yeah. We're very animalistic.
A lot of animals.
Yeah, a lot of it. So here we go.
Oh my God.
The sources, most of my information was from a documentary on HBO Max called Alabama Snake. I don't know if you're familiar.
Is it good? Is it one episode? Is it a series?
It's one show. Like it's a one and done. So it's like an hour and a half.
Okay. Was it great?
I did like it. It was interesting. Wikipedia, obviously I liked it because I did the story.
I know, but sometimes we don't.
Yeah. An article on the Daily Mail Online, AnistonStar.com, USA Today, Oxygen. There's a ton.
Oh my God. I want to Google so bad. I'm literally playing with my bracelet to not pick up my phone and look this up.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Can you hear that? Okay.
Look.
I'm going to stop. I'm so annoying.
She does her story first, which I need to go first, so you have to sit there and be good. Because then after you're done, you're like, I'm free. And it's like, you get to leave work early, but you still drink, play, and hang out with me. Huh?
Do you remember when we used to drink?
Yes.
And do these?
Yes.
We're just over here just... I'd be drunk as fuck about 70% of the way into your story. Well, at least I'm sober.
Yeah. Okay. And this is the story of Glenn Summerford. Now, Glenn's early life basically is non-existent online, but I tried to piece together all I found. So he was born around 1944 in the Tennessee River Valley, somewhere like his voice was played a lot on the documentary, and he sounds like a hay bale's going to fly out. So like south. Which I have an accent too, so I'm allowed to say that. He said,
Why does it matter?
Huh?
Accents?
I was just trying to figure out where he's born.
Oh, I know. I'm just like, you're like, well, I have an accent, so I'm allowed to say that. I was like, fuck that. It's accents.
Yeah.
Everyone knows I have accents.
Oh, yeah.
People who get offended for accents are stupid. Like, enjoy your dialect.
Okay.
Lean in. Like Heather did with hers.
Yeah, that's what I do. So he said that he was a quiet kid and got picked on quite a bit. So he had to learn how to fight to defend himself. And his dad wasn't around or in the picture at all. And then his mom got remarried. So his stepdad was an Army vet or a military veteran. I wasn't sure if it was Army, but he just got back from the Korean War and he was in the special forces. So basically he knew all those, like, he could kill people with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Like he knew how to do all that stuff. So he's like, hey, stepchild, like, let me basically show you how to protect yourself.
I like it.
So he'd take him out to this like log that had fallen across the creek and he would be like, okay, come at me. And this kid's like 7, like, and he would just throw him off. Like he would spar with him.
Good.
Yeah. Well,
building character.
Kind of beat the shit out of me.
Building character.
Okay.
I think it's building character.
I think it's childish.
He's teaching him how to fight.
Yeah, but if he didn't hit him and stuff, like if he would show him like you could do this move or something, but he would literally like hit.
He would just beat him?
Yeah.
Like that's all? He would just beat him and that was it?
Yeah, he'd be like, you got to defend yourself. Like,
oh.
Yeah, it was a little bit more than
I'm seeing
gonna teach you how to be
cute,
tough. Yeah.
This is how you fight. So come at me. And then I push him to the ground. And then like I'm seeing a very cute karate moment.
Not cute.
Got it.
Glenn said that he was basically his stepdad's shadow and they were best friends and he went with him
so he was
everywhere. That was his only father figure. So it was still, at the end of the day, it was still just a little bit abusive. He told him, his son, he told Glenn, he was like, if you take a life, you can't give it back, but you got to do what you got to do. So that was like ingrained in him at a young age. And then, so that was his childhood, basically. And then Glenn met his first wife, Doris, when he was in first grade. And they ended up getting married at 19 years old in 1963. So they met in first grade, stayed friends, and then got married. She was a doting wife and adored him, but Glenn was kind of a piece of shit. He was a super violent alcoholic and was shocking, but he loved to get into bar fights when he was hammered. He ended up getting convicted for 2 felony assault and battery charges, and then he went to prison. Now, when he got out, he was off his rocker. Like, he went off the deep end even more. He got into this, like, a bunch of, like, an underground fight club, like, in the mountains. They called it going up to the mountains. So there was, like, this old garage up there, and he would go up there, and he would make money fighting people. Like, on the documentary, they called it Up the Mountain. So it was literally a community in the Appalachian Mountains where people wouldn't really call the cops. They would just handle their own shit.
Yeah.
So that's how he made his money. He was, like, unbeatable, too. He made a lot of money just by fighting and stuff. And then he ended up beating a guy so bad that his eyeball popped out of his fucking head. But he kept hitting him. So, yeah. Yeah. So, but he kept hitting him after his eyeball was out. So everybody there got mad at him because that's
why
he went over the edge, and nobody wanted to fight him anymore because they were like, "No,
you'll fight to the death for no reason.
You went too far.
You can't stop yourself now."
Yeah. And Glenn and Doris had like a gaggle of kids, and they didn't name all of them, but I think it was like 3 or 4. One night, their house caught on fire, and then they woke up and were like, "Oh shit!" And they ran out and they were passing the kids out the window. And then when they were doing this, Doris is and she's on the documentary telling this, like, her hair caught on fire. She's trying to get her family out. The house is like, it caught up. It's almost engulfed, like the roof is falling in. So they're trying to get everybody out. Her hair catches on fire. So Glenn tries to put the fire out on her, and then they crashed out the window. And then they finally got that out, and they looked around, and they realized that 18-month-old Sarah was still in the house. So they couldn't get back in, like it had already collapsed and stuff. And this obviously tore the family apart.
I cannot imagine how it wouldn't.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah, because, I mean, at that point, she had to try to do something. She was on fire. So,
I mean, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that she doesn't blame herself, but you can't have your head on fire and try to save people.
Yeah, yeah. And then Glenn dove deeper into a dark space. Like he got more violent, more drunk, more cold. And the domestic violence was already bad, but it got way worse. And then Glenn thought that someone from up the mountain set his house on fire for revenge for doing that.
For popping homeboy's eye out?
And they never proved that that was true, but he always had that chip on his shoulder and was just pissed about it the whole time. And she eventually got the guts up and she left him.
Good for her.
Yeah. Glenn started dating again, and he met 19-year-old Darlene. So she was about 10 years younger than him. So he's about 29. Yeah. And she was 19. In 1974, Glenn and Darlene got married, but he used a fake name because he was still legally married to Doris. Get this. He was such an asshole that not only did he get remarried when he was still married under a fake name, he did it on her birthday so she would always remember. And that's what he said. Like, she hadn't been through enough already. Her kid died. She was abused for years.
Yeah, but how would she could just get him arrested. Yeah. You legally can't get married to somebody else when you are married. So like him getting married on her birthday, why would it matter if she didn't know? Like if she knew, then she should call the cops because that's illegal.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't understand why. If anything, I'm like, you're the idiot, dude. You literally just confirmed. Yeah. And why would I care? You beat the fuck out of me. Get married on my birthday. Piss on my grave. I don't fucking care.
I wish that she was kind of like upset, like when she was talking about it on there, because she was now, obviously years later, she was like, well, I got out, so whatever. But she was like, yeah, it really hurt my feelings back then. Yeah. Darlene ended up saying on the documentary that she immediately regretted marrying him and she was scared to death of him. So, like, the new wife was like, I'm fucking scared of you.
I'm stupid. Yeah. Why did I marry him?
Right. They struggled financially and had a son named Marty. And Marty said that growing up, he remembers his dad almost killing a guy for hitting on his mom and popped his eye out, too. So, apparently, he had a thing for popping eyes out.
Popping eyes out?
Well, obviously, he was probably doing something that his stepdad taught him or something.
I'm pretty sure, though, if you collapsed that part, like that bone.
Like by your temple?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you break the bone of the eye socket, that's probably what happened.
I don't know.
Because that's what's holding your eyeball in place, right? Oof. So you break the bone that's holding it and it pops out. Ugh. Can you see it? Can you see what I'm trying to... Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, please bring snakes into this awesome story.
Yeah. According to Glenn, one day he looked out the window and saw two kids playing by his house. The two kids came up, knocked on the door, and said that Jesus sent them. Oh, it gets better. This threw him off. And then after they left, he was like, God spoke to me. So God said, hey, Glenn, I need you to go away and fast in a cave. Go find a cave for 30 days, and I will teach you the Bible. You got to go hide, though, in a cave.
So and he wasn't on drugs?
Allegedly, no. So apparently, he does this. He went out, found a cave, and fasted for 30 days and read the Bible cover to cover.
Not 30 days?
Nonstop. That's all he did.
That's disappointing. God, he must have been a slow reader. If that's all I was doing a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's over here. I need 30.
Oh, so he said after he came out of the cave, he was reborn as a preacher, which I don't think that you can just say, hey, I'm a preacher now, but that's what he did. He came back, then he baptizes Darlene. So now they're both born again Christians. He founded the Pentecostal church in Scottsboro, Alabama, called the Church of God with Signs Following. The look on your face. It's just, he goes
pivot. Like, what?
Yeah. Okay. He would give sermons, and Darlene was up there, like, playing the tambourine and shit with him. So they're both... that's my band. Ching, ching.
Jesus. Yeah. Woo-hoo.
Right? Now, not to get, like, too religious, but according to Wiki, Pentecostals have core values that emphasize holiness, righteousness, faithfulness, honesty, sincerity, humility, prayerfulness, which I didn't know was a word, and leading disciplined and responsible lives. So sounds pretty wholesome, you know. Like doesn't sound too off kilter.
We skin cats.
Yeah,
we drink animals' blood.
That's right. Yes.
You looked at me like, are you going to keep going on that one? You were ready for me.
You know my face.
I do. I can tell how quickly you get annoyed with me too. For our listeners, Heather gets annoyed with me.
Oh, no. They also believe in gifts of the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, supernatural healing, and other manifestations of the Holy Spirit.
Cool.
So I have to tell you this. So my interaction with the Pentecostal preacher was my guy friend in high school's dad was a Pentecostal preacher, and he asked me to dye his hair blonde because back then that's frosted tips were in back in the early 2000s.
Hold on, are you telling me?
This is for me. This is a me story.
Just choked on my spit.
Yeah, this is from my interaction.
I have so many feelings on the fact that a grown man asked a high school female to dye his hair.
No, by his son. I said his dad was a preacher.
So the son wanted you to dye his hair.
His son is my friend. And his son wanted me to dye his hair, but his dad's a Pentecostal preacher.
Well, I'm so sorry. Okay, that makes way more sense. Yes. I was like, a 35-year-old dad asked you to dye his fucking hair.
No, the look you gave me, I was like, what? It was all the rage.
No, it was totally the rage. Hello, Justin Timberlake. I get it. Okay, it was like sorry, carry on. I interpreted it incorrectly.
My high school friend's dad was a preacher, a Pentecostal preacher. So I dyed his hair. And then we went to his house. I dropped him off. He's like, well, I'm going to run in. Do you want to come in and say hi to my parents? I was like, okay, sure. Why not? And I went in and said hi. And his dad looked me straight in the eye and told me that I was going to go to hell because I dyed both of us because I dyed his hair and I desecrated his son. And it freaked me out because I thought he was joking at first. And I was like, okay.
Why wouldn't you?
I was like, okay, well.
Okay, that's funny.
Cool. I'm going to, and then I wanted to be like, did you know your daughter's a lesbian? Because I bet you won't like that too. But I didn't say that. And she is. And she's nice. I still talk to her. So.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not talking shit. That was my personal experience that's
quite had. The experience.
Yeah, with my one interaction. But I'm sure there's some nice ones out there.
Well, Heather, you literally desecrated his son, so he was being nice by not beating you to death.
I mean, hindsight, it was pretty. I did not do a good job. Okay. So anyway, at their church, they somehow got almost 50 members in the congregation, and they adored Glenn, like worshiped the ground he walked on. Marty, the son, was like, I saw my dad pray over an 80-year-old woman in a wheelchair who couldn't walk, and then she just stood up and walked.
Oh, like it's that. One of these.
Mm-hmm. It was a wild church. They would all speak in tongues and drink out of bottles that were labeled, like hand-labeled strychnine. Somebody just wrote that it was strychnine on it, like the poison.
It's
like the poison, yeah.
I was like, what is strychnine?
Drink out of it to show that they had
that sounds like hard 75.
Yeah.
Or 75 hard. Strychnine. That's what I'm going to do. 9 days of a strict diet.
A strict 9. And one lady said a dude had a broken jaw from a car wreck, and then Glenn went and touched his face, and then magically it healed during the service. So his jaw just was not broken anymore. Another member said that Darlene cut her finger off when she was cutting carrots, and then Glenn prayed over her, and the finger went back on. So apparently he's a magician. I just picture it like very Addams Family, just crawling across the counter and popping back on there.
What is getting my goat currently, what is bamboozling me is like, who is thinking this shit is real? Like if Jordan came in here right now and he goes, dude, my friend literally just touched this dude's cheek and his jaw, I'd be like,
it'd pop back in.
I'd be like, punch me in the face. Let's go see if he can do it to mine. I was like, I need to see this.
Yeah.
I'm breaking a toe.
Yeah.
I'm doing something to my body that is not okay, that I can be okay with as they try to heal me. But I need to see it.
Yeah,
My gosh.
Then they said he would cast demons out of people all the time and shit like that. He said one time, he was like, oh yes, one time I did an exorcism and I saw a water dog crawl out of someone's mouth and slither away. Apparently a water dog is like a brown slimy demon.
Ooh.
So it just climbed out of.
I wonder how cool that would feel.
Because I believe in with Josh Hartnett and from when we were in like high school.
Every movie?
Oh yeah, I know. The one where I don't remember.
What was it about?
The one where they had like something inside of them and it would crawl out and go in, like come out of their faces.
Slither or something?
Yeah, it slithered. I don't know. I used to look. Anyway, that's what I thought of. But Marty even said that he saw a dark shadow devil jump out of somebody and then run out the window. Like it ran around the room trying to hop into another body and then jumped out the window. And this is their son grown on the documentary saying that like as an adult. So who knows?
So, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So these are human beings just like in Mother of God.
Yes.
Or Mother God or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
These are people truly believing this happened.
Yeah. He's the only one that came on the documentary and said this happened, but he's the son and he was grown and said this. Yeah. So the congregation looked up to him and they would shun anybody who doubted him or his sobriety because spoiler alert, he was not sober. But you weren't allowed to say it. But he publicly drank. He was super into snake handling during the sermons, but that's serpent handling. So serpent handling started during the holiness movement in like 1909 or 1910. And it was used as a religious rite that they would pass around the snakes to the congregation. If you get bit, you're not holy enough, you're not connected to God enough, or the devil's in you, basically.
Oh, super.
Yeah.
Super casual.
So if you get bit, it's
and
your
then
fault.
do you die?
They're poisonous, so if you do, I mean,
Do they not have antivenom?
I don't know the specifics about
I understand. It's almost like you asking me Canadian questions.
during your Canadian story.
I would assume that if they had one, they would have antivenom because they can't just watch somebody die.
Who knows? If they're not connected to God, it's on their fault. Because that's how they look. Like if you get bit, then you're not
annoying me with
holy
this story.
enough.
I'm
Okay.
just so you know that. I'm feeling in my core annoyance.
Good, because there's like 5 more pages. Ugh. Okay, so according to ABC, 125 churches in the U.S. today still do this. But I'm sure there's more. But that's like registered ones, 125.
The census.
Yes. And it's believed if you're hurt by the snake, you're not connected to God. Okay, so here we go. The documentary jumped around a lot, so I pieced this together. Darlene had a kid named Bobby Joe before she got with Glenn. And
she was 19 when she got with him.
Yeah, so she had a kid before that, and the kid was taken away from her for misconduct. But they don't say where, what, why. They don't tell you what. She never saw the kid again. Glenn said this made her unstable, and she was like a psycho about keeping her son Marty, like keeping custody of him, because she's like, I'm not losing this kid. I already lost one. He also claimed she tried to kill herself twice before they got married. She was on drugs, basically a lost soul, and he saved her kind of situation is what he liked to portray. He's very, very self-righteous, this Glenn. In the fall of 1991, Glenn and Darlene had been married for 16 years, and then the wheels just started to fall off. I think they were already off, but now they're completely off that car. And he said, she started not acting right and accusing him of being distant and not loving her anymore. And his response to this, because he was so close to the Lord, was to ignore her. She wasn't acting right, so he was like, she's not being right. She doesn't deserve my attention. And she's like, I'm telling you, you don't pay attention to me. You don't love me anymore. And he's like, I'm going to ignore you. In September.
That is a solid relationship.
Yeah. In September, Glenn said he was praying in the woods and God was like, you need to go back to your house. So he goes back to the house, and on the edge of the woods, he sees Darlene. This is what he says. He sees Darlene bring a man into their house. He watched. An hour later, he walked outside, and Darlene was at the door in different clothes. This is what he said. When he goes in, he's like, she did all this because she wanted me to beat her up. Yeah. He's like, she started telling me about multiple affairs that she's having too. She's like, she just was provoking me, right? Then he says that she's like, oh, by the way, Glenn, like when your sons were teenagers, so like 13 and 14, she's like, I would go into their rooms and have threesomes with them. Glenn said she was sleeping with his sons.
Okay.
Now, one son said hell no, and the other one ended up writing a letter saying that she would rape them when he was 12, but nothing was ever proven, and there was a lot of lies going around, so it was never proven.
So the son could have literally just been like, I'll do whatever you say, Dad.
Yes. Yes.
I need you to say that this happened. All right.
And Darlene's on this documentary, she was like, well, I was shocked that he wasn't struck down by God for that, because she's like, he lies all the time, and I don't know why God hasn't struck him down. So,
man.
Yeah. And then Glenn was like, yeah, she wanted me to get arrested so I would go to jail and then she could get full custody of Marty.
So she could have sex with him. But I'm like, my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So, but like really, he's just fucking crazy. Glenn was like, well, she's unstable too. So now her secret's out and she could lose Marty. She's probably going to try to kill herself. And he said, well, let's just get a divorce. And she refused. So then she said, well, then she got mad and took a whole bottle of pills and tried to end it all. But, he's God's right-hand man. So he ran out there and gave her some water, and then and prayed over her, and she instantly threw up and survived without medical attention.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Then he says a few days later.
This is stupid.
A few days later, their pet raccoon that lived in the house with them.
Cash.
Yeah. Was a biter. And it bit Darlene on raccoon. Me too, and it's real cute because they show it.
They're really cute.
Yeah, they show it.
Ugh.
And apparently, though, it was a biter, and he bit Darlene on the hand. This was her wake-up call, Glenn says.
What's Glenn's last name?
Summerford.
Okay.
He said she finally realized the error of her ways, and her way of apologizing to him was to go out to their shed where they kept the snakes and handle them. That was her way of apologizing to him, because they had the snakes he used in the sermon. They had them in the shed at their house. So remember, if you're not bitten, then you're holy or whatever. Then you've been forgiven. So that was what he said she was trying to do. On October 4th, 1991, he says she went out there to prove she had been forgiven and was bit twice on the hand by poisonous rattlesnakes. Yes. This is what he says. Now I'm going to tell you what really happened.
Oh my God, I'm so scared.
So 2 EMTs, they're sitting around and they said this 14 times, like at a Piggly Wiggly parking lot. They kept saying that.
Wow.
And they got a call for code 1, which is like time sensitive, urgent, for a snake bite in Calhoun County. And they also said, be sure when you get up to the road that you turn your lights and your sirens off. The caller requested that. They're like, okay, like it's not common, but they can do it. They said it was super rural and pitch black when they pulled up there. So they were nervous that it might be like a setup. So as all they heard was dogs barking, and that's it. And they pulled up to this
terrifying,
dark fucking road. And there's like 3 houses on this huge long road out there. And they pull up and wait for a few minutes, and they're like, what? This is scary. And then the dogs are barking. They see this woman stumble out of the dark, and they can see snake bites on her and on her arm. And they said that one of them was like black, and it looked like it had been there for a few days. Like the skin was already dying off of it. They said this fancy word for the skin is dead, and it was black and blue all up her arm. Yeah, because the closest hospital was so small. It was in rural Alabama, so they drove her 90 miles to Birmingham to get the antivenom.
Yeah, because I knew there was no way they were going to have, unless it's something that happens all the time. Yeah. You know, like rattlesnakes are everywhere, and so they keep them in the, They said they were like, what? Like, this is not a normal call. Everything about this was weird to them. And on the ride there, Darlene tells them the real story, because she is dying, but she still can talk. So she said, Pastor Glenn had tried to kill her. That was cute. He tried to kill her. Kill her. By holding a gun to the back of her head. He slammed on the cage with a metal pipe on the rattlesnake cage that had about 15 snakes in there that were over 5 foot long, by the way. No.
He slammed on it to piss him off. He screamed at her, and he was like, you're going to put your face in there.
No.
And think like Indiana Jones snake pit. Like, they're all pissed off, hissing, going crazy. And he's like, he had grabbed her by the head with a gun and was like, you're going to go in there. She struggled, but she's like, I have to do something. He's going to shoot me if I don't. And she knows enough about snakes to know that the closer to your head is your worse. Yeah. So she stuck her hand down instead.
I'm like, here's my toe.
Yeah, here's my toe. Yeah. So she stuck her arm in, and he said he was like, yep, you're still guilty. And he just went to bed that first night. The first night. This isn't even the same day.
So, I don't know how she would have lived.
Yeah.
Because of how quickly it goes through your body.
Yeah.
I need to look.
And remember, she was abused and scared of him. So she's like, what the fuck do I do? And the next day he said, hey, I'll take you to the hospital, but you need to take me to get some whiskey and rent a movie. You're going to do this for me. And then
Sounds like a good Saturday.
I'd take you to the hospital. I knew you were going to say that. I swear to God, I deleted that out of my notes. I was like, she's going to be like, sounds like a good Friday night. So,
can I tell you real quick?
Yeah.
So the venom of rattlesnakes and other pit vipers damages tissue around the bite. Venom may cause changes in blood cells, prevent blood from clotting, and damage blood vessels, causing them to leak. These changes can lead to internal bleeding and to heart, respiratory, or kidney failure. I just want to share that.
Yeah. Thank you. So they go and do this. They came home, and Glenn's like,
sorry.
What?
Last thing, because I thought you died faster. So, sorry. Left untreated, it can lead to organ failure and death in 2 to 3 days. Okay. So I just had to say that.
No, I didn't know that either until this story.
Yeah, I thought you died like right after.
On TV, they're always like, like, so you just assume, like on movies.
From my understanding, though, like it feels like acid, like fire is going through your veins. So like the pain is unbelievable.
It's not a great way to go. So she was like very ill at this point when he's like, you're going to take me to the liquor store and you're going to go get me Shrek 2 or whatever. Like, you know, and the girl at the video store was like, she didn't say anything to me. Well, her husband's in the car with a loaded gun. She's fucking scared.
Yeah.
Like, she's got battered woman syndrome too. So like So they come home. He didn't take her to the hospital. And Glenn's like, the devil's too far in you and I'm going to divorce you. So Monday, we're going to take you to get evaluated mentally because he's like, you're too far gone.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. That night, she waited for him to drink enough to pass out. She started like feeding him drinks and stuff.
Good for
and
her.
then once he finally passed out.
Oh, so she's the one that called 911.
She called 911.
Walked down the street.
Yeah.
Kept the sirens off.
She went outside after he passed out and she laid in the dark and then literally was like collapsing. Like, I'm going to die if I don't do something. Like, she felt it.
Yeah.
So when the cops went to arrest him, they said the house was like a wreck. It was messy. They couldn't tell if a fight had broken out, which it did, or that's just how they lived. I mean, they had a fucking pet raccoon in there that, like, the police even saw a purse moving. They showed it on the video. And then when they opened it, the raccoon was in the purse and like got out and ran across. Yeah.
Oh, my.
So they saw it. They took Glenn in and found a note on the table that ended up being Darlene's handwriting. But he held a gun to the back of her head and made her write it. Oh. So here's part of the note. Marty, I love you. Do what Daddy says. Daddy was asleep. I tried to fix everything, but it didn't work out. Don't blame Daddy because he loves me and is trying to help me, but I wouldn't listen. Basically, it's Marty telling, like, it's a note to Marty, their son, saying Dad's good.
Yeah.
Like, obviously he made her write that to alibi himself and stuff, but he's trying to say, oh, no, it was her. No. Stupid.
My God.
He wants to prove his innocence. And it says in it like 3 times that he was asleep.
Right.
So like she did this on her own. Marty said that Friday night he does remember his dad beating the crap out of his mom in the yard. Like the first night that she got bit. And he was like 10 at the time. So he went, he didn't know what to do. So he got his bow and arrow and he actually tried to shoot at him with his bow and arrow.
Aww.
To save his mom. And his dad had a gun chasing her too, but he missed every time. So Darlene saw that and that's her life, is her son. So she stopped running and wanted to de-escalate him and get him out of there because she was scared of what was going to happen. So she called her in-laws and they came and got him. Like got Marty and he left. And this is when the actual snake bites happened. So Saturday afternoon, after the note was written at gunpoint, Darlene passed out on the couch. She passed out on the couch for a while because she's fucking dying. And so she got exhausted and passed out. She woke up to Glenn pissing on her head to wake her up. This motherfucker. He dragged her out to the shed again and said, you're going to die this time. Apparently, it's harder to survive a snake bite, like I said, if it's closer to the head. So he tries to shove her face in there.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And then, like, 2 bites, 2 days. So, like, she already got bit once. He was pissed that she didn't die. She knew she was about to die, so she stuck her arm in again. It got her in the arm, and he quit. And then she was like, well, they went back in the house. She was like, this is it. This is how I'm going to die. So when she got him drunk, fed him drinks, he passed out. She pretended to be friends with him. She was like, this is my fate. The devil is in me. So let's just be civil and I'll go Monday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she called 911 and he got arrested and went to trial. On the first day of his trial.
Wait, so did she live?
She does. Yeah.
Yay.
She does live. She's in this. Yeah, she does live. So I know I thought about that when I was talking. I was like, I just told her that she lived, but I'm glad she did.
You didn't though.
I said, well, because I said Darlene said in the documentary.
Oh, I didn't even catch it.
Dang it.
That's okay. I didn't even catch it.
Yeah. So Glenn got arrested and went to trial. Now on the first day, his whole congregation showed up to support him. Because of course,
they don't know. Who knows? You don't know until you know.
They, on his way in, he stops at the reporters because media frenzy. And all he says, he goes up all mopey and sad, and he's like got his hair slicked back, and he looks dapper or whatever they said. And he's like, Jesus lives. I don't know what else to say. And gets all mopey and walks in. And the defense was like, Darlene knows how to frame her husband because she's an experienced snake handler too. So she did all this on purpose.
What a fucking
like that's what the congregation believed. They were like, well, she knew that she could do that. Like she could get bit in the hand or in the arm, and she did it on purpose to make it look like that. Like they were all saying like she could have. Why would she was like,
bit? I would rather get bit by rattlesnakes than almost die.
Yeah, exactly.
To frame my husband who beat me.
Yeah, exactly right.
And wanted to divorce me.
Yep. Yeah, the prosecution was like, no, and then they point out the whole true story. And then a drunken asshole who abuses her and wanted to kill her. And they said that he wanted her dead because he wanted to marry another woman.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which is, he started, He wasn't a great dude.
He's not a good looking guy. So I don't know who's trying to hop on that dick.
The trial lasted 2.5 days. And he was found guilty of attempted murder.
Ah, good.
Mm-hmm. Because of his 2 prior felonies, he got the minimum, which is 99 years.
He got the minimum?
Or the minimum sentence that he could get.
Was 99 years?
And I think I meant maximum.
I was like, what the fuck?
I'm pretty sure I meant maximum.
I'm like, how is the minimum 99 years?
The maximum is 2,000 years.
I know. It's like, what the
They bring him back to life. They freeze his head, they cryo freeze his head, and then they bring him back to life and make him stay in prison.
Minimum of 99 years.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
now I get it. God.
I know. Yeah, yours
I was like,
am
I high?
Yours makes more sense. Okay, Darlene after this, Darlene goes back to the church and tries to make...
it goes back to him.
Oh, no. She tries to make peace with them, and tell her truth, because remember, she's the
He went to jail.
She's the co-founder of the church. Yeah. She tried to go back, and you know what they did? They tried to cast the devil out of her.
Oh my God, fuck them. I hope
they still believed her.
Get fucked in their butt. I hope someone slides a fat finger in their butthole when they're not expecting it and they shit that day.
And they don't like it.
Oh, you say and they don't like it. And I said, and they had just shit.
Oh, ooh. Yeah.
I hope nasty things happen to them.
Yes. Now, Darlene, like I said, was on the documentary, and she said she believes in demons, and she thinks that she's got a bunch in her now. Glenn is still in prison and claims his innocence. Now, in 2003, he was on work detail, and he escaped them for about 45 minutes, and he was captured, and they added 30 years.
Okay, so he technically just got someone to get bit by a snake, and he got 99 years. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, and then in another episode that we talk about, we have a serial killer and he got 25.
When you said yours,
it is so mind blowing. Yeah. The justice system makes no sense.
It's wild.
And how states can just do whatever the fuck because it's a state. Whatever.
Now, I suggest watching the documentary because there's a ton of audio tapes. There was a doctor on there who's into Appalachian folklore, and he dove into the story and actually went to the prison and interviewed him several times. So this guy is delusional. He kept saying, Glenn was saying to this guy, if I was drinking, then I would have probably done these things. But I was sober. And the guy was like, well, you literally publicly drank. You were drunk when the cops got there. You admitted to being drunk when the cops got there on tape. We know you were drunk that night when you were arrested. So,
why are you saying that?
And then he comes back. He pauses for a long time. And then he comes back and he's like, what if I told you I didn't even know the truth? Now you're just being mysterious and stupid.
That's not even mysterious. You're a fucking idiot.
It was so stupid. I'm like, shut up. The whole time I'm just saying shut up to the TV.
I'm saying shut up in my head to you. Yeah. So I get it. This is so stupid.
I know. And then Marty, the son, he's doing well. He's married and has a kid and a grandkid, and he's doing okay for himself. And then that's the crazy story of Pastor Glenn Summerford and how he attempted to kill his second wife, Darlene.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's stupid. That's weird and stupid. And what a terrible way to get someone killed.
Yeah, because he wanted to. Yeah, he wanted.
What a slow death.
Yeah, he wanted it to hurt because he was crazy.
What a butthead.
Yeah, and that would fucking hurt. I was thinking that the whole time. I'm like, how bad would that hurt? I never want
to get bit by a snake.
And then rebit.
Yeah.
But pissed off, not even just they're mad. They're
trying to protect themselves.
Yeah, because he riled them all up and then he went out there and did that. I'm glad that the son is so fucked up.
Do you remember Snakes on a Plane?
What's the only thing I know from that is that the motherfucking snakes on that motherfucking plane. That's all I got.
So you never saw the movie?
No, just that clip.
Oh, you should. Because I remember being like, this was actually really fucking entertaining. I was not expecting it to be entertaining. It was super fucking entertaining.
Maybe I'll watch that.
You should. You honestly should. I remember being like, this is fucking entertaining.
Okay. I'll have to check that one out.
It's about a guy who they wanted, it was a witness. And it was a witness protection. He was going to be on this flight, and it was some mafia people or whatever. And so they put a whole bunch of poisonous snakes on the plane.
You watch that? You don't like snakes? I
don't care for snakes. I'm not they're not a thing.
I wouldn't watch.
I lived in Florida, so true. Snakes are a thing.
Oof.
So I
see. I couldn't watch Arachnophobia. That's what I was going to.
Oh, I could watch that too. Anyway, and they put pheromones on the like plain, like a type of flower, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a whole bunch of like fucking crazy ass snakes. And then they go through and they're just like, we're going to kill everyone on the plane because we just need to kill that one person, basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
It's wild. So snakes are just like falling.
That sounds
and they're all like
wild.
fucking ready to eat you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe I will watch that.
It's riveting. Well, your story's stupid. A drunk alcoholic psycho.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it was just it was something different. I needed to take a pivot.
It's weird.
And it was
a good pivot.
Definitely a pivot.
So weird.
Was it weird?
It was
Did you think it was weird?
You just have a snake pit of
they had a bunch of them
and stuff.
Yeah.
No.
I do want a pet raccoon though.
I would like that too.
That would be so fun.
That would be a good time. Good time, Charlie. And I'd name it Charlie.
Good time.
Do you want to go to Sam's Club?
Does a bear shit in the woods?
I think they do.
Yes. Okay.
Can you guys like, rate, listen, subscribe, and stuff?
Yes, do that. Message us if you have any stories you want us to do, because clearly I'm digging at the bottom of the snake pit for mine. So
I'm a snake.
I'm a snake.
Slurry little snake.
I can't believe it took you 47 minutes to do that. I waited the whole time. I'm like, she's going to do this the whole time.
And I didn't.
No.
Look at that.
You held out.
I did.
Surprise ending. Okay.
I love you guys. Love you. Bye.
Theodore, can I pet that dog?